Hey everyone, today I have another layout update. I've been working on a ton of just monotonous wiring and putting up structures and stuff. And, that stuff's fun and it gives me enjoyment, but it's not super relaxing, and I just wanted something relaxing to do. And scenery is very much relaxing. So I started doing some scenery. And it's mostly involving this area of the layout, or pretty much involving this whole area of the layout. And I have enough materials. I made sure I have enough consistent materials to last me almost the entire layout, hopefully, or at least this whole section. And, with the previous version, I made ballast in very small batches, and of course, now I've mixed all those batches together because I harvested them from the previous layout. And now I have enough ballast to complete the whole layout practically. So, of course, the ballast we'll start with is a mix of Woodland Scenics, just store-bought ballast, which is way too expensive, and I just thought I would buy one little thing to kind of mix into the whole batch because I thought that it would give it a little more variety because I can't really achieve the more fine particles with my method of ballast. And then my regular method of ballast here, where the particles are a bit bigger. I might make a video on how I make ballast. I probably will, so I won't really go into that here. Of course, I'm continuing on with the theme of the previous layout, which was 1960s or just bad track. And I suppose you could kind of pass it off as maybe being 1930s, Great Depression era, because they didn't keep the track in good shape then either. But, I guess I'm mostly going to be doing 60s because a lot of the infrastructure I have and a lot of the automobiles I have would match the 60s. And I'm not saying, I'm going to sell all my locomotives or get rid of all my locomotives that are not from the 60s or wouldn't have run in the 60s. I just have the majority of locomotives, and the majority of locomotives that I like and want ran during that time period. And, in terms of Amtrak, 70s, I'll extend to there. This could also represent the 70s and possibly even into the early 80s for some places. But that's the kind of time period I'm going for in a railroad that is, I guess, not really in the best of shape. And I thought that, everyone is making layouts that are idyllic and take place in like the 50s or the 20s or a good boom time. And, I think those layouts are nice and they're supposed to be nostalgic, but for this, I wanted to do something that was more real, more gritty, and less sort of dreamy, I suppose. I don't know what I'm going on about, but, bad track. And this whole layout's going to be a bit sketchy, so you'll see. All of the ballast here is secured down with just clear glue. It's generic glue. And generic glue is a lot less expensive than the Elmer's glue, and it basically does the same thing in the same amount of time. So if you're going to get glue, just get the generic stuff. It really doesn't make a difference at all. All right, moving on to probably my favorite part in terms of scenicking ever in the layout's history would be the station area, which is one of the first things that you see and where I really want to put a ton of detail. Of course, I want to put a ton of detail into everything, but especially here. Because, this is one of the first areas that you'll look at and examine, and I wanted to add in a lot of nitty-gritty little bits. So, let's get started with the actual station itself. This used to be 3 complete, I don't know the product number of these, but these stations that everyone and their mother has. But one of them, it was a newer one, it's a cheaper plastic one. The supports for it broke, and that simply left like just the base, and I couldn't really reattach the top, so I just kind of left it like this, and I didn't know what to do with it until I just drilled some holes in it, plopped some lampposts down, and now I think it looks pretty good. I have also spaced everything and tried to make sure to close the gaps between the buildings as much as possible, and I think it looks pretty good. I of course added in an extra piece of fencing here because, it makes it look more complete. Like, it's not 2 separate station buildings, just one complete building. And of course I added in some ballast in here because I wanted it to, I guess, have more texture in that little area, which hasn't had any scenery in it ever. So yeah, I guess that's something. Moving on to the smaller details of everything, we have a lot of bits of litter like this, and, bits of trash like this and that. And then over here, the only thing that's really meant to represent anything specific is this, which is a either just a regular soda can or a Coca-Cola can, you know, that I don't have any logos on it, so it's fairly generic. Then just more garbage, little bits of that kind of stuff. And I added in like a little luggage cart, and there's no one here. I'm never going to add figures to this area. But we have, you know, garbage can. Everything's weathered. Everything's weathered and detailed as much as I like. Because, you know, weathering not only makes things look used and old and, you know, not brand new, but weathering also helps bring out details and things. All right, over here is probably my favorite little area. We have a garbage can or a garbage dumpster. Then we have a little, I think that's a watering can. I don't know. I just sprinkled random crap in here. And then we have this area, which we have a little chair, and then a garbage fire. It's just a little barrel that I painted black, and then I added some, I think it was, yeah, it was electrical tape, colored electrical tape, and kind of dressed it up a little bit so that it looked like flames, and then I added in a little bit of a light going in there. It's an LED light, of course, so that wouldn't melt any of the plastic components, and that's all wired up so that when I turn on the layout power, that little garbage can lights up. I'm pretty proud of that little one. It really only took me like 10 minutes to make. It is a cool little detail that I thought would be amusing, I suppose. All right, I'd like to talk about one last thing here, and it is the lack of people at this station, or lack of people that are going to be on the layout. I don't really like doing miniature people, honestly. They aren't really my thing in terms of decoration, because as much as, you know, you paint them up or you detail them, they always look fake, especially if you're doing a video where the trains are running around and the people are just kind of static. I'd like to just have, I guess, vacant areas. And I suppose that makes sense here because I'm modeling the 60s, and no one rode trains in the 60s, so of course, makes sense. And I suppose that's pretty much it for this layout update. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry I haven't been putting out a ton of content recently, but I've tried. I've made a lot of videos and had to scrap a lot of them because I just wasn't happy with them. But, you know, I definitely try. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.